That's right!
Welcome to The Know, I'm Mica Burton.
I'm Miles Luna.
Every E3, the industry's biggest publishers gather to sell us on a whole bunch of stuff that, may or may not happen until the next E3 when they get up to do it all over again. With E3 right around the corner, and by right around the corner we mean a few days from now, we thought it'd be good to look at last year's event to see what panned out and what didn't over the last year. So we can keep those expectations in check.
So this is our chance to retroactively grade all the hoopla from last year, now that time has left us bitter and cynical. For the purposes of these grades, we'll focus mostly on each publisher's exclusive content and on the biggest stuff they talked about in 2016.
First up, let's look at Microsoft and how they're doing a year later. Microsoft's E3 presentation focused on Play Anywhere, its cross-buy program that allows gamers to play games on both the Xbox One and the Windows PC. It showed off trailers for all these exclusives and announced the new Xbox One S, but its big reveal was Project Scorpio and the might of all of its, are you ready, Miles? Are you ready? Teraflops.
I hate that word. Since then, things have been, well, a little rough. They've come through on some of the things they talked about, but in general, people feel like this E3 is going to be incredibly important for the company.
The big promises they made, they announced the Xbox One Slim. It was cheaper and slimmer, and it was released on schedule in August and provided, a big boost in sales.
And it was sexy.
It was sexier.
There was Play Anywhere. Currently 12 Play Anywhere titles with mixed results. Some games didn't feature crossplay at all, Halo Wars 2. Some had it in limited amounts, like Gears of War 4.
Right.
And it wasn't always clear how to get certain features to work.
They announced Project Scorpio, and we've now got hardware info, but we're still rating on the price and the release date and the games and what it looks like. And is it actually called Scorpio?
Don't speak, my sweet. All right, so here are the games that came out. Gears of War 4.
Yep.
Windows 10, Xbox One. Reviewed well. Ultimately, kind of a flop compared to the other Gears games. Fourth best opening week for the series.
They announced Forza Horizon 3 for the Windows 10 and the Xbox One. It was released in September. 2 rave reviews. Everybody loved driving around Australia.
There was the Recore trailer released September. Lots of technical issues.
Did not like that one. Recore was not a good game for me. Did you play it?
Fuck no.
All right, there we have it. Inside was released in June 29th, 2016. It had a 93 on Metacritic, a 91 on OpenCritic. It was weirdly sneaky. Like, it was treated like an exclusive, but like surprise, it was on PS4.
Yeah, but Dead Rising 4 was announced.
Right,
it launched on schedule too. Middling reviews, and lots of criticism that Capcom changed all the core mechanics.
I forgot that Dead Rising existed, to be very honest. So
you didn't want to be Frank at Christmas? He's got a camera! Buy it, kids! What's the next one?
Halo Wars 2. It was released in February to a 79 on Metacritic and a 78 on OpenCritic. It didn't sell many copies, only 149,000 in its first week, but 1-2 Switch did 187, and that was kind of,
That's not a good game.
That's not a good game, but Eddy likes Halo Wars 2, so yeah!
Yeah! Alright, now let's talk about games that were shown that didn't come out. Multiplayer trailer for Scalebound. The game's dead. It's just dead. It's totally dead. Sea of Thieves, State of Decay 2, it's not.
Gone.
That's
why I went taps and I saluted. Am I saluting with the right hand? Am I doing the right salute?
So,
okay,
no, it's like this. Alright, so, it's time to grade it.
Yeah,
it's time to grade Microsoft. What did you give Microsoft?
I will give Microsoft a C. No, I give them a D because I wanted to ride dragons, and D is for dragons.
Well, I'm gonna give them 5 out of 10 teraflops. I don't know.
Wait, say that one more time.
A 5 out of 10 teraflops. Thank you.
That was 5.
Yeah, they're delivering on some of the stuff, but then it's still just like, the whole thing with me right now with Microsoft is, yeah, you got your exclusives, but when most of those exclusives also come out on Windows, and I think I'm fine with my Switch and my PlayStation and my PC.
And I think that's kind of what they're worried about.
Yeah, maybe a little bit. I don't know. I'm all for trying new stuff, but see it through.
Are we the average consumer that they're worried about?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Sorry, Xbox.
I'm so average.
I love you.
Hey, let's talk about Sony.
All right, while Microsoft's conference was heavy on initiatives, Xbox identity and new hardware, Sony took a slightly different approach and bombarded everyone with games.
Thank you.
Which is what we're here for. The only problem is a huge chunk of those games still haven't seen the light of day a year later, and some have had, 0 updates. In fact, some of the only games that did release were shown to be third-party multiple platform titles, so,
Yeah.
Yikes.
Still, Sony did find some time to talk about new devices.
Oh.
While fans were disappointed not to hear anything about the PS4 Pro, ultimately revealed at a later event, still, Sony did find some time to talk about new devices. While fans were disappointed not to hear anything about the PS4 Pro, ultimately revealed at a later event, Sony did give the US release date and price for PSVR. And as is the case for the rest of the players in VR, well, the jury is still out on how that's doing.
PSVR was announced for $399 and an October 13th release, promised more than 50 games available by the end of 2016. There were some standouts like Arkham VR, Resident Evil VR, but they've been totally silent on VR since the beginning of this year.
Yeah, but let's talk about games that came out.
All right.
Horizon Zero Dawn, boom! Delayed to February from October.
Right.
But seemed worth it. Huge launch for a new IP.
The Last Guardian came out, it got delayed again to December. It had lots of technical issues when it came out. The kid controlled kind of weird, but it was highly anticipated. Everybody loved it-ish. It had an 82 on Metacritic and an 81 on OpenCritic.
Resident Evil 7. Fuck, that game rules.
That game.
And had a big surprise of being VR. Very short wait for it. Overall, that game fucking kicked ass.
It did.
Yeah.
It scared the shit out of me.
Yeah,
I can't do scare games.
Really brought some much needed life to that franchise.
Yeah, it really did. So games that were shown that didn't come out, we have God of War, Death Stranding, Crash Bandicoot's Insane Trilogy, but this one has a release date, June 30th.
Yep.
Final Fantasy 15 VR with no updates about that at all. When can I stare at Gladio's abs? That's all I want. Detroit Become Human, Days Gone, Spider-Man by Insomniac. I'm gonna give them like a high B+, like an 89%. So it's like almost an A-, but it's still a B+.
I'm giving them 8 out of 10 OCs. Let's talk about Nintendo!
Hey boy! Nintendo, again, skipped a formal E3 presentation in 2016.
Too cool for that shit.
But they instead did a Treehouse video, which is, you know, kind of cool. And they kept their E3 news limited to a few games. Breath of the Wild and Pokemon Sun and Moon, but Breath of the Wild was their huge, just dick out big reveal. They showed off a lot of gameplay for the highly anticipated game, and while they didn't give it a release date, it ultimately became a launch title for the Switch, which was still a secret at last year's E3. Can you believe that?
That's weird.
Like a year ago, we didn't have our Switches.
That's weird.
Right?
Let's talk about the big promises. Nintendo's promises boiled down to one game, Breath of the Wild. And it delivered, releasing with the Switch and also on the Wii U in March to universal acclaim. It's the best reviewed game of this generation.
Also,
and
Miles, like, how great is it? Like, so great?
It's like so fucking
It's like so fucking great.
I want to stick my dick in it.
Wow, he wants to stick his dick in it.
I might have done it.
He might have already done it.
I broke the cartridge.
So, more games. They showed off some gameplay and character info for Pokemon Sun and Moon, which is also a fantastic game.
It's good.
It brought back the Pokemon franchise for a lot of people. Like, people who play Pokemon Go were like, what's this new thing? Sun and Moon, I'll pick it up. It sold stupid well.
Grades for Nintendo?
Yeah.
I'm giving them 10 out of 10,
10 out of
Skyward
10.
Swords.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get all 10 Skyward Swords.
I'm giving you 10 out of 10 tingles.
Ooh. EA!
All right, let's talk about EA.
Oh, God.
Now that we've tackled all the, you know, big three dick-flopping competitors, let's go on to the smaller ones. EA's conference went down the same way it normally does. That is to say, it was long and it talked about sports ball right in the middle of it. You know, kick the ball, make the goals. But despite that, they managed to tease their Star Wars game just a little and announced Mass Effect for like the 7th time without actually showing anything, which, you know, may have been a warning sign we all should have heeded.
Games that came out, Titanfall
Yes.
2. Pretty fucking good. Baller-ass campaign mode, and yeah, the multiplayer is still fun. They added some cool shit, it's fun.
Battlefield 1, that was baller as well. People really enjoyed, yeah, baller, Miles.
That was baller as well.
Was too baller.
Battlefield 1 was good.
It was good.
Hey, you know what wasn't? Mass Effect Andromeda. No! That came back. We've talked about it. You already know.
You know what
it was just a bad scene with a
just
sad
wonky
story.
faces. EA Originals, kind of, they spent a lot of time talking about their new indie initiative, but have only released 2 games in that initiative since they announced the program, so that's awkward.
Yeah. Game shown that didn't come out. Visceral Star Wars Project. That's it.
That's it.
So based on that, I'm gonna give them, 9 out of 10 overworked animators.
I'm gonna give them about a 6.5 out of 10 wonky faces.
Cool, great,
Yeah.
awesome. Square Enix. Square Enix spent much of its pre-E3 presentation on Deus Ex: Mankind Divided, and it also announced a lot of games, many of them Final Fantasy related.
Games that came out, let me tell you now, it's not Kingdom Hearts or Final Fantasy VII Remake, but Deus Ex: Mankind Divided came out, and it released in August to some generally positive responses, although the franchise is now being put on hold because of like the Avengers and Marvel stuff, so.
Yeah. Final Fantasy 15 September release date announced, delayed, and finally released in November of last year with nice reviews, record-breaking sales, despite complaints that it felt unfinished.
Nier Automata released in February, and it was incredible. So much ass.
Yeah. Kingdom Hearts HD 2.8 announced December 2016, delayed, released a month later in January, which for Kingdom Hearts is basically on time.
Yeah, no, seriously. So games that were shown last year that didn't come out was the Final Fantasy XII remaster, the Zodiac Age for sometime in 2017. Square Enix says it'll still release in July 11th.
What are your grades?
Okay, so I was disappointed in Square Enix because I forgot last year they didn't talk about the 2 games that I'm waiting for, but you know what they did give me? A new love of Final Fantasy 15. It is my favorite Final Fantasy game, which replaced 7. So I'm gonna give them 11 out of 10 Gladio abs.
Oh, you took mine. I was gonna give 5 out of 6 pack abs.
Ooh, 5 out of 6 pack. That's cool. You know what, Miles? That's clever.
Thanks, man. Ubisoft kicked off its presentation with a memorable dance-a-thon to announce Just Dance 2017. Yay. Then announced a slew of games, most of which ultimately released right when they were supposed to. Well, almost. Despite what some may think about a few of these games, they've gone on to become massive hits. You know, minus
I forgot Steep existed.
Yeah, you and everybody else. And have made Ubisoft the most successful publisher this year so far.
So the games that came out, the For Honor game, it came out to mixed reviews and a lot of criticism from players because apparently people don't know how like microtransactions and unlocking things work.
Yeah.
Like the Overwatch community used to it, but for some reason everybody at For Honor is like, we have to work hard for stuff.
Yeah, Watch Dogs 2, lackluster sales despite releasing on time, but mostly positive scores.
There were dicks in it though.
Wah, wah.
There were dicks in it though.
Can we just talk about Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Wildlands?
Okay, Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Wildlands came out, and it came to some reviews, about a 70 on Metacritic, just 70s overall, but it had a lot of technical issues when it came out.
Yeah, Steep announced, showed up in December with almost no fanfare. They announced Star Trek Bridge Crew VR.
Oh.
Like South Park, it got delayed a couple times, but finally came out. Game shown that didn't come out.
Yes, South Park, the fractured butthole. But it's gonna be coming in late 2017, so
yeah,
we're all pumped.
Grades, I'm gonna give them 10 out of 10 fractured buttholes.
I'm gonna give them about 8.5 out of 10 LeVar Burtons.
But how many reading rainbows? Double rainbows. That's our report card for all the E3 presentations last year. What scores would you give these press conferences in retrospect? Who delivered the most 1 year later? Let us know in the comments.
And for all of your E3 news, literally starting tomorrow, we are going to be streaming Saturday through Thursday. Go to youtube.com/no. We will be there with devs and demos, something else that starts with D, maybe donuts, also games and stuff. And we'll be covering all of that, and we're not totally nervous or freaking out at all. It's gonna be fun and exciting. Join us. Welcome to the Know. I'm Mica Burton.
I'm Miles Luna.
Every E3, the industry's biggest publishers gather to sell us on a whole bunch of stuff that they may or may not, actually happen. Wait, what? That they may or may not happen?
You're adding a day.
Oh, just kidding.
Idiot. You look stupid right now.